Hey guys, Dave Hoffman with Hoffman Supply Chain Advisors, and we are going to go into part 3 of our case study series with Gatti Morrison. So in the first 2 videos, right, we were on site at their warehouse. We talked a little bit about what their supply chain is, and then we also kind of walked around the warehouse and looked at some of the products that they're selling. So now what we're going to do here is I want to take some time and I want to map out what their supply chain looks like. And I think it's important when you go into these companies to really understand where the products are coming from, where they're going to, and how it all works. So let's dive into it, okay? So again, Gatti Morrison, right? They are a wholesale distributor of construction products, okay? So they have 2 locations, as we talked about. One's in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. The other's in Allentown, PA. So let's just do this real quick here. Okay. This is warehouse 1. Pretty simple, right? Warehouse number 2. We'll just put KP for King of Prussia and AT for Allentown. Okay. So the products that come into them, right? They have a few manufacturers, right, in their supply chain that will ship product in to their warehouse. And as we had talked about in the prior videos, right, this leg of the supply chain, right, the logistics piece, the transportation piece is controlled by the supplier, okay? So freight in is what we're going to call it because it's freight coming into, right, them is controlled by the supplier. Now, knowing what I know, oftentimes suppliers will take their freight and they'll mark it up, okay? So real simple. Maybe it costs $1,000 to ship product from point A to point B. Maybe that supplier puts on, an extra 10%, charges an extra, I don't know, $100, whatever it is. It's not uncommon to mark up freight when a supplier is shipping to their end customer, okay? So this is one piece we're going to take a look at. We're going to look at these lanes. We're going to ask the supplier to break out the invoice and say, hey, what's the product cost? What's the transportation cost? And then let's kind of see where it falls, okay? So it comes into their warehouses, or another option that Gatti Morrison can do. So over here, let's take a look real quick. Here are their end customers, right? And that's a picture of a highway, because if you recall earlier, we had talked about they do some Department of Transportation work, some highway work. And then we said they also will sometimes help do skyscrapers. Let's just say this is like a job site, if you will, where one of these skyscrapers are being built, okay? But what the supplier can do is, instead of bringing it directly into Gatti Morrison, what they'll do is they'll what we call drop ship, okay? And when we drop ship, all that simply means is it's coming direct from Gatti Morrison, the manufacturer that they use, and it simply goes to Gatti Morrison's end customer, okay? So that's what it looks like, the 2 different ways that these suppliers will deliver to Gatti Morrison, okay? Now let's talk about product coming out of both of these warehouses, okay? So the 3 options that they have to get their product to their customers is, number 1, okay, customers can pick up. And when I was there at the warehouse, they had a few customers coming in and buying products while I was there. So that's one way. Number 2 is Gatti Morrison has a fleet of trucks. So their trucks will then take the product out of the warehouses and deliver to the customers. Or 2, right, what they'll do is they'll use LTL carriers for a lot of their freight, okay, that delivers to these locations. Now, here's the other area of opportunity that we're going to take a look at. Because we're delivering to these job sites and they're using LTL carriers, it's not uncommon for them to have special requirements that we talked about. So maybe this job site, right, the construction workers aren't there all the time. And so you have to call for an appointment. Well, if you're shipping LTL, that's often an accessorial charge or an additional charge that you'll receive. So call for appointment. Maybe because the way the job site is set up, they can't use a tractor trailer to get in that job site. So what they'll do is they'll use a straight truck, okay? Or let's take a step further. Maybe they need a straight truck and they need a lift gate on the back of the truck because they have no way to get the product off the truck, right? It's not a traditional warehouse where you have a dock door where you can just back up to the warehouse. That doesn't work that way. So what they're going to do is they're going to deliver that job site, put the product on the lift gate and bring it down to ground level so the workers can take the product off the pallet and take it where they need to on the job site, okay? So these are some of the areas that we're going to explore and look at. We're going to look at some of these accessorial charges, okay? And pretty much this is really the makeup of what their supply chain looks like. It's not overly complex, but again, it's important to understand that. So when we come back, we're going to share our findings on this. We'll talk about, what the recommendations we made to Gatti Morrison, and I'm excited to share that. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thanks, guys.